callous, cowardly and barbaric. The Prime Minister condemns Iran's execution of a British Iranian national in the strongest possible terms. Alireza Akbari was given the death penalty over spy charges. The Foreign Secretary says new sanctions will be imposed.
And we have also decided to temporarily withdraw our ambassador for further consultations.
Also this evening, the UK intensifies its support for Ukraine by sending in tanks. A stunning late turnaround for United against City in the Manchester derby. And
my name's not Dave, my name's Rodney.
Nicholas Lyndhurst is adding another name to his sitcom CV as he joins the cast of the new Frasier.
This is ITV News with Lucy Watson.
Good evening. Tensions are rising significantly tonight between the UK and Iran after the execution of a British-Iranian dual national. The Prime Minister has described the killing of Alireza Akbari as callous and cowardly, while the Foreign Secretary said his death would not go unchallenged. Akbari, who once served in Iran's defence ministry, had been accused of spying, which he denied. But despite pleas from the UK government, his execution went ahead and his death was announced on Iranian state television this morning. Rachel Younger reports.
For almost 4 years, Alireza Akbari was held, often in solitary confinement, in some of Iran's most notorious prisons. When the plan to execute him was made known, there was an international outcry, but it didn't change a thing. His death announced on Iranian state TV this morning. The presenter quoting the intelligence ministry, which called him one of the most important agents of the British spy service. All of that interspersed with what's described as Akbari's recorded confession, though his family say he was drugged and tortured. And a fellow British Iranian who was held in the same prison warns we shouldn't believe a word.
Yeah, this is usual interrogation.
He too had to record something similar.
You are mentally paralyzed because you're kept in a solitary confinement, which is very small and tiny. That is really sad that you want to be interrogated more because this is the only human connection that you have.
The Prime Minister called Akbari's execution a callous and cowardly act carried out by a barbaric regime with no respect for the rights of their own people. The government responding to what it calls an unacceptable political move.
We have summoned the Iranian Chargé d'Affaires. We have imposed sanctions against the Prosecutor General, and we have also decided to temporarily withdraw our ambassador for further consultations.
Akbari's case wasn't directly linked to the nationwide protests against the regime that have been sweeping Iran, but Britain's criticism of its handling of them has seen relations between the two countries deteriorate. Tonight, Tehran has summoned the UK ambassador as Akbari's wife and children mourn another victim of an increasingly beleaguered regime. Rachel Younger, ITV News.
After weeks of debate amongst Ukraine's allies, the UK has become the first country to say it is sending battle tanks into the country to help push Russian troops back. Rishi Sunak confirmed the decision in a phone call with President Zelensky this morning. 4 Challenger 2 tanks are expected to be shipped immediately, with 8 more to follow. Vincent McAviney has more.
Operating for 25 years, heavily tested on the battlefields of Iraq, Challenger 2s, Britain's main battle tanks, are now heading for the front lines of Ukraine. Only 12 for now, but the Prime Minister hopes these will encourage allied nations like the US and Germany, who have made promises of their own tanks to deliver. President Zelensky tweeted his nation's thanks to Britain, saying he hoped it would signal to other nations to follow the example.
We expected that help from everybody. Unfortunately, we did not receive that help from everybody.
And this is why he needs them. In eastern Ukraine, Russia has claimed to have recaptured the town of Soledar, or what's left of it. Ukraine denies this. Nevertheless, Russia's first possible victory in 6 months will boost their morale and might trigger a wider offensive this spring. Meaning these tanks could be critical in stopping a resurgent Russia. In response, though, the Kremlin warned weapons supplies are legitimate targets for Russian strikes. For Ukrainians hit by yet more Russian shelling across the country today, with several reported dead and wounded, tanks from the west can't come soon enough. Vincent McAviney, ITV News.
Ministers have announced a rapid review of guidance to landlords about health risks from damp and mould after the death of a young child. 2-year-old Awab Ishak died from a respiratory condition caused by mould in his family's housing association flat in Rochdale. Sejal Karia reports.
It's hard to imagine anyone living in this flat, let alone a family with 4 young children. Charlotte's home in southeast London is ridden with damp and mould. It's in the hallway, in the bathroom and above the beds where they all sleep.
The main part of the mould is all above the window, and it's now just spreading all down that corner of the wall, from the ceiling down the inline of this wall.
She showed me her room, where 9-month-old baby Poppy was taking a nap.
It's really terrifying as a mum to know that your child's breathing in all the bad spores.
In October, Poppy was rushed to hospital with a chest infection and had oxygen delivered through her nose until she could breathe on her own. 2 months later, Charlotte videoed her, still gasping for breath.
I just feel like she's going to end up dying in her sleep. For a child, let alone an adult, to go through that, it's just, yeah, it just chokes me up.
Her son Harrison, who's 2, has also been to hospital several times due to breathing difficulties. Charlotte says she's contacted Greenwich Council numerous times over the past 5 years. They do come, she says, but with short-term fixes.
They don't actually stop it. I know obviously mould is hard to stop physically, but I have done all I can do by cleaning every day, but they just haven't got to the root of the problem.
Today, ministers said new guidance for landlords over mould and damp risks will come in the summer.
This situation is beyond urgent. It's a human crisis. What we really need is greater accountability. And in order for that to happen, we need kind of Ofsted-style inspections of social housing, much greater rights for private rented tenants.
I'll help you.
Greenwich Council says Charlotte's already prioritised for a new council home and it's arranged for further emergency repairs. Sejal Karia, ITV News.
3 women and a 7-year-old girl have been taken to hospital after a suspected drive-by shooting in central London. The incident happened next to Euston Station near a church where a funeral was taking place. Initial inquiries suggest shots were fired from a moving vehicle. Detectives say one of the women has potentially life-changing injuries. Hormone replacement therapy may help prevent Alzheimer's in some women. Researchers at the University of East Anglia found the menopause treatment appears to protect women at the highest risk of developing the condition. And Prince Harry has said he still has enough material for a second book. He told the Daily Telegraph he left a lot out of his memoir Spare for fear his family would never forgive him. In an unprecedented move, the board of directors at Everton Football Club was told not to attend today's game because of a real and credible threat to their safety. Many fans at today's 2-1 loss to Southampton carried banners displaying their anger with the management. Thousands remained inside Goodison Park after the final whistle, chanting "Sack the board." And there was drama in the Manchester derby at Old Trafford. United came from a goal down to beat City 2-1, adding another twist to the title race. Chris Scudder was watching.
Whisper it, but something is stirring again at Old Trafford. What a time for United to avenge their 6-3 thrashing by City 3 months ago. United's 8-game winning run looked to be coming to an end when De Bruyne's perfect cross was dispatched by Jack Grealish. The advantage of a £100 million player coming off the subs bench to score. But then the game's big contentious moment. Rashford was offside for United, but didn't touch the ball.
He's going to leave it. Bruno Fernandes!
And Fernandes levelled the match. Cue chaos. But was Rashford interfering with play? No, said VAR, and the goal stood. City were livid.
It's a goal! Manchester
United ecstatic.
Old Trafford explodes.
But there was more to come, and before the champions had time to steady themselves, United scored again. Rashford, the local boy, bringing joy to the red side of a divided City. So it's back-to-back defeats for City, but for United, 9 wins in a row now under Erik ten Hag. Just like old times. Chris Scudder, ITV News.
And finally, the stars of 2 of the most beloved sitcoms of all time are joining forces, one British and one American. Kelsey Grammer is preparing a new series of his mega hit Frasier. His co-star, though, will be less familiar to American audiences, Nicholas Lyndhurst, who played Rodney in Only Fools and Horses. Joe Coshan reports.
Frasier comes to England and discovers he has a foreign lost family, and he joins Fools and Horses.
It could work.
It's the crossover we didn't know we needed.
Frasier Crane, unattached, unemployed, and living with his father.
But a sequel season of the Seattle sitcom starring both Frasier Crane...
Trig, why'd you call me Dave? My name's not Dave. My name's Rodney.
And Only Fools actor Nicholas Lyndhurst is in the pipeline, something Kelsey Grammer hinted at when he spoke to ITV News in 2019.
There's a group of writers I've been talking to.
And those writers are sending Dr. Crane off to a different city to meet his old college buddy, Alan Cornwall, played by Lyndhurst. A chance to recreate their friendship offset on screen.
Na 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 na. I think I remember someone used to call him Dipstick. But,
I had no idea that Kelsey knew anything.
I have seen the show.
Yeah. I pinch myself every morning to think I'm coming to work with Kelsey Grammer.
That's really
here. It's astounding.
That's very kind.
And given he's joining a show that's won 37 Emmys, there may be more pinch me moments to come. Joe Coshan, ITV News.
Should be good. And that is it for us for now. I'll be back with the late news at 10:15. Until then, enjoy the rest of your evening and we shall see you later. Bye-bye.